Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Smooth Conversations, where the conversations are always smooth. It is your boy Smooth, and that is Smooth with three O's. Thank y'all for tuning in. We got another great show this evening. For those watching for the first time, thank y'all very much. Had the very first show back in August. Had the great Guy Tori in the place to be as the very first guest. And ever since then, the show has been amazing. And this is all about just getting people stories told. It's about positivity because we need more of that in this world. Getting, once again, keeping them, having to be 100, having to be transparent, vulnerable, and just having a great conversation. I've always say this to previous guests, excuse me, but it's not an interview style. It's just once again straight up smooth conversation. So need everyone right now to go ahead and like and share this video. Let's get as many people tuned in right now so they can all enjoy an amazing show this evening. For those who may not know, I call myself Mr. Jack of all trades. I'm a professional DJ, MC, host, engineer. Need some customized apparel done, hoodies, tank top, shirts, the whole nine. I got you as well. And I just do so much stuff that I love to do, and I have a passion to do that. And this right here is one of those things. And also use your phone and see that QR code on the top right of your screen. Go ahead and use your phone to scan that and connect with Smooth Productions. Once again, Smooth with three O's, and save me as a contact, and let's collab. Let's do some amazing things. Speaking of amazing, this guest that I have this evening, she is a member of the great, iconic, historical Washington Metropolitan AME Zion Church. and she's a mother. I'm sure she would say she's an amazing daughter as well. She's a minister, and as you saw in the promo, something that no woman will want to encounter or expect. She is a wife, but also a widow as well. And I'm going to get her story told and so much more. And I need each and every one of y'all, once again, like and share, get as many people tuned in, and also leave comments because we want to shower this woman with so much love throughout the whole episode this evening. So the more people who tuned in, the better the show is going to be. And also subscribe on YouTube right now. Smoooth Conversations, y'all. Y'all see it on the screen. Bam. Smoooth Conversations. Go ahead and subscribe right now. I need to see by the end of the show, need to see about 100 people have subscribed to the channel. So go on YouTube, Smoooth Conversations, and click on that bell and subscribe right now. So with that being said, it's time to bring in the one, the only Mrs., should I say, the Reverend, the minister is in the TSC, the Saunders Experience, Niesha Thomas-Walker. And how are you doing?
I am very well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. And this has been a while coming. We've been trying to get this thing going, but thank you for being flexible and making things happen and being here this evening.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to be here on your show. And I'm just so glad to be able to grace this platform that you have here.
Yeah.
It's very, very nice. And I'm very excited for, where God is taking you with this,
I appreciate that.
Amen.
And shouts out also to the wifey. She's upstairs, probably tuned in right now. But to Jamie, thank you very much for trusting in me and believing in me. Almost every show I've had since the first show, majority of the guests have been here at the TSC, and she could have been like, "Nah, you gotta do this somewhere else or keep it virtual." But she's trusting in me to allow me to use my passion and use what I feel the Lord is doing for me to allow people to come here and be a part of the show and have a great intimate setting. So thank you to the wifey, and we're gonna have a great time this evening. And I want to start off first we've set our highs and whatever at church, doing it before, after service, the whole nine. But the very first true encounter that I can recall us really having was I had put on one of my caps as Brother Richie Williams, my fellow trustee member. He would say, but I had to put on one of my many hats because you were downstairs in the fellowship hall, and you were trying to see about the projector because you were going to be teaching some students. Some members of the church, the kids.
That's correct. I was put in charge of this program that we have on an annual basis at our church, and part of my responsibility for that program was to do a teaching for the members, and I implemented like some technology use because I wanted to look really cool. You know what I'm saying? So I implemented some technology use within, the lesson, but I got stuck. I think I had some missing parts, and, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was about to panic, and then you show up.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, Brother Fred showed up and saved the day, and I was able to, to do that. So that was a blessing.
Yeah. So that's when we just had this general conversation and find out that, you were a teacher.
Yes.
So tell everyone what grade and what school.
Yeah. So currently I am a middle school teacher at Normandy Middle School, one of the most challenging schools in our district, but I believe that I am called to be there. I truly believe that, the children that I serve could benefit, from, my gifts and my wisdom and, all that God has imparted in me. So even though I call them, the children of the corn,
with all love.
With all love, I promise you, with all love, and they know that.
I mean, at least you don't call them babies.
That's true,
Right,
right?
right, right.
That's probably a cut above from baby's kids.
Got a level here and then up there. Okay, yeah.
Right. But yes, I love them. It's my calling to be able to deal with children and youth, and to be able to, to relate to them. And, I believe I'm one of those individuals that is called, to kind of bridge the gap between the youth, the young adult, and even, the older generation. So
Now, um, this woman here, we've actually have seen each other over the last week, maybe 3 times now.
yeah.
Cause she came through and I had the whole TSC set up for a photo shoot. So
Yes.
photographer also, y'all need some
Absolutely.
photography.
Really good.
Hey, so she was actually my very first client. And
Wow.
some that I know you say that you more of a laid back, a little shy, but
Yeah.
that evening, you show a different side. And after that experience, how did it make you feel being able to step into that different area and space and do your thing?
Sure. Yeah, for a minute it was a little, like, okay, what am I doing here and how am I going to look? Those typical things started to kind of, go through my mind. But, as I got into it, and I started to feel myself a little bit. And I'm talking about in a
Right,
in a good,
right,
humble
right,
way,
exactly.
in regards to, I am made in the image of God, and the more I thought about that, the more I thought about that, like, hey, I'm God's property. I became more confident.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just got to remind ourselves of that sometimes. Hey, shake it off, just know that you are made in the image of God. You are purposely and wonderfully made. And, if I keep, thinking that, I'm going to believe it sooner or later, and it just makes everything better.
Yeah. So like the thing that I had in my mind was like, okay, bad, bold,
Yeah.
and what was the third one? Bad,
bold,
bold.
and badass, I think.
There we go. And it's just like just have that different side and feeling that maybe you thought you may have lost.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because like
Absolutely.
I said, that personal self-esteem and confidence is big.
It is. It's huge.
It's big. So thank you for once again trusting in me.
Absolutely.
For allowing me to hold that down. It was once again a fun experience for me. I'll always learn everything that I do. I want to, okay, I did this.
Yeah.
Now what can I do to be better for the next thing? So I look forward to many more things.
Absolutely.
Then the other day helped you out with your 360 boot. So if y'all need some 360 boot services, there we go. She can hold you down. The wifey and I helped her out getting the app together and the booth, and just trying to find a nice process for clients and yourself. Yes. So I look forward to you holding things down and getting some good reports.
Absolutely. I definitely will. I'm really excited about that and using that and serving people with that.
Right.
And I just thank you and Jamie for just coming through. You guys were so patient with me. And, like I said, when it comes to like technology and stuff, it just doesn't click well in my mind. And you guys showed up, and now I feel like I'm a pro.
Hey, there we go. But so the reason I brought that up is because while I had a meeting yesterday as well, they didn't know that I was also not listening to the whole conversation, but I know that y'all had your own little Yonsei conversation on the couch. I'm like, I should have bought my microphones and camera and lights, because y'all was like, talking it up and everything. And going back to you being a teacher, for those who don't know, Normandy recently set a new policy in the new year about not having phones and where it was that kids, I think I saw a video, like kids were talking about no phones, no phones, no school, something like that.
Yeah, they were planning on striking.
Right. And I'm like, this generation. So let's talk about from your experience starting off as a teacher. How long have you, when did you first start?
So I started teaching middle school about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Prior to teaching middle school, I was teaching at Veteran College. I don't know if you remember Veteran.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was teaching cosmetology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I taught cosmetology for almost 8 years. If you know anything about Veteran's history, you know that they closed down abruptly.
Yeah.
And I was actually the one of the last employees there when they closed down, when they closed their doors. So, I was I was really starting to love the feeling of teaching. So I went back to school, got my degree and got my certificate, and vowed to teach, our inner city children. Again, I feel like I have specific gifts to, benefit them.
So talk about teaching from back then to how it is now, and what have you seen change over the years?
Wow. I mean, it seems like it changes every year. Something changes. Just the dynamics of education, children themselves. I'm teaching, like 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds now. So it's so much different now. These children, education just unfortunately is not at the forefront of their minds right now. It's the technology, it's the cell phones, it's the social media. Those things seem a lot more important, to them. And I'm not saying that they are not important, but unfortunately, just many, I'm not saying all children, but a lot of our children are really focusing too much, on those things versus education.
Yeah, kids act like, oh, no Wi-Fi, all my life is over, or I can't do anything else. No, it's so much more out there to explore. But I hope that what Normandy is doing, it may pave the way for other schools to start taking that initiative and see how the difference is with these kids, and if they will focus more on the reason why they are at school.
Sure, absolutely. The jury is still out on that, but we're hoping for the best, the best outcome, So yeah.
Okay. So y'all, if you don't know, I'm very big on moments. And so I do have some things up my sleeve and I want to present. But I brought up earlier in the beginning about you being probably what you would say an amazing daughter. So with that being said, let's go ahead and have some fun, and let's talk about this person right here. And if I were to ask this woman, how was Niesha as a little one, what do you think that that she would say?
She would probably laugh first. And she'd probably repeat the question and laugh again. But ultimately, she would say, Niesha was something else growing up. She was my only daughter, and she had she had three brothers, and she was quiet for most of most of her young, I guess, adult, maybe childhood, but she was probably a little sneaky too.
I think we all had no phases,
Yeah, it was a phase, because people still call me sneaky today, but no, that was just a phase.
Tune in to the next to part 2 as we find out now.
But yeah, but ultimately she would say proudly, I believe, and humbly that how I have grown as a woman, through life, as a child of God. As a daughter, as a mother, she would definitely acknowledge those, growths in my life,
So you said you were the only girl, and how many brothers?
3.
How did that go?
I know, right? How did that go? I still ask myself because thankfully I still have my 3 brothers, and sometimes I'm reminded of, those days growing up in the same household as them. But it went well, It went very well. I still have a very close relationship with all 3 of my brothers today. Growing up, though, it was challenging. I was a tomboy, and I did all the good. I did all the stuff better than them, like tumble and
better. She ain't say I was doing it with them, but I did better.
Yeah, they probably won't agree with that, but that's the truth.
If they watching, leave comments.
Right. But yeah, my brothers and I very closely knit, even today. Yep, very closely knit.
Nice. So something that I saw, I did my research, and I saw this, and I saw your post behind it, and I was like, she cool with me. We'll talk about this man right here.
The Mike, MJ. That's my dude. I always have, always will love him. My whole family loves Michael Jackson, though. I'm talking about from the youngest, which is like, 6? They have Michael Jackson songs. Like my niece, Eris, she has a Michael Jackson song and dance already down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My son wakes up listening to Michael Jackson. You know, we all just love Michael Jackson. We got the Michael Jackson game on Wii.
Same here. Yep.
Our last console broke. I went to buy a whole nother Wii just to play my Michael Jackson game. So, so yeah, we're huge on Michael Jackson.
And yes, because her post had greatest entertainer of all time, and I 100% agree.
Yes.
I still am, but my daughter took over for me. She loves Michael Jackson. Every song she plays is MJ. I'll be like, wow, I never would have imagined that she would have so much of a deep love for MJ. I used to throw concerts in front of my grandparents when I was a kid. I had on my pajamas, my PJs on, and I had a red robe, thinking it was a red Thriller jacket. And doing my thing. But yes, I love MJ. I'm gonna always have him as my number one artist of all time.
Absolutely.
But when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's dope that she feels the same way, and your fam as well.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do. Absolutely.
But, you know, it still kind of like hurts when you think about, man, he gone, you know?
I remember the day.
Yeah.
I remember the day when that happened. Yes. I'm like, man, so what's going to happen to music?
Right.
You know, that was one of the questions in my head, you know?
I was leaving my old job, and I was on Broadway, about to get on 70, right past the Dome. And all of a sudden I heard the breaking news. I had to pull over. I had to call my boy, like, man,
is it true, right?
And he was like, no, it can't be true. No. I'm like, dude, like once CNN put it on there, that's when you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, forget the other sites. You know, it wasn't like Twitter and all that kind of stuff. It was
CNN.
Yeah. So you had to see the actual source, like CNN. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But he definitely left a legacy that
absolutely
I don't think no one else can really outdo at all.
Not in my book anyway.
No, it ain't going down.
That's right.
So what would you say to this woman right here?
Wow. That was, I think, 14, 15 years ago. Wow. And that was when I was working for the government. I had a very, very good job, and I was young, and I was an entrepreneur at the same time. I was had my hair business, and you know, I was just doing my little thing, and you know, I felt like I was right where I needed to be. You know, financially, educationally, I had just graduated from college. I had kind of hit those milestones in my story, but I would have told her, you need to buckle down, you know, saddle up, buckle down, because you have a ride before you.
You have arrived before you.
Yes.
Put that on a t-shirt. I like it. You have arrived before you. I like that. Now let's keep it going. Talk about this photo right here. Disciplining mothers.
Yeah, disciplining mothers. So this is like one of my first sermons. So I was very young in the ministry, in my like early 20s. Look at that 20-year-old smile. Yeah, so this was like my first sermon, and I was actually doing it with 2 other women. And this was like my segment of the program. But I was just on fire for God, you know. Again, I was like around 25 years old, and I came into the relationship with Christ for the very first time, because I wasn't raised in church. And if you know that feeling of just being on fire for God, you know, you really understanding that, you know, God is real. He's real in your life. And you are saved. You know, there's just like this excitement and this zeal, and all of that was, you know, it was over me during that time of my life, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just glad to be saved and be a church girl.
Hey, I'm a church girl. I know Beyonce got a song called Church Girl.
I heard that version.
So let's talk about this one right here. This photo, like, I'm feeling myself.
Well, I don't know if I was, maybe I was kind of feeling myself, because purple is my favorite color. So I feel myself when I wear purple. Okay. That's why I have purple lipstick.
There you go. There we go.
Yeah, so I was actually in the ministry at this time, and I had a good life, and I
Mm-hmm.
still do have a good life. I'm not going to say I had a good life, and as if it's in past tense. No, I just had a lot of, I guess, just grace and mercy in my life coming up. I didn't really have a lot of bad days. I've lost family members, and of course, feeling grief from that. But God, God has been good to me, and for the most part of my life, I've been, excuse me, I've been peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it just hasn't been. I mean, it wasn't good all the time, 100%. But God had me in a point in my life, excuse me. Even when things happen, I was still peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
I was still peaceful, and I still felt the favor of God on my life. So, God has been good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here. Same
Amen.
here. So as we continue on, you brought up the ministry earlier. So
Mm-hmm.
I saw this photo, and I've always wanted to ask someone who decided to take on that next level in their life. You brought up being on fire earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain if there was a particular moment in your life where you was like, God, I hear you. I'm ready to go ahead and take on this next chapter?
Yeah, actually, I did. I didn't audibly hear God's voice. Some people do. But I felt like a purge within my spirit of God telling me, okay, now is the time. And yeah, during that time, or maybe even prior to that time, I was running. I was running. I was trying to avoid what I knew, what God was calling me into, preaching and teaching and, being in front of people and being vulnerable, to others, for the sake of God, for the sake of the cross. You don't really, if you really think about that and what that encompasses, it's not, always exciting,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's not a fun thing, excuse me. And I've heard about, I've seen, the testimony of others that have been called into Christ, and you know, sometimes they feel burdened, So I was trying to avoid that, but when God has called you into ministry, or even if He just called you to do something or say something, and um, that it's Him without any doubt, you can't. You have to go. You're not going to be at peace if you don't go.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, in order for me to, get a peace of mind, Lord, I'm gonna do what you tell me to do. And it has been a peace of mind. You know, it has been a peace of mind. There has been, a whirlwind of things, but for the most part, God's sovereignty has been with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So being a minister, of course, well, I'm a child of a preacher. Shouts out to my mom.
Yeah.
My wife, she's a daughter of a preacher as well.
Yeah.
So, we seen the behind the scenes, but talk about just your experience once you became a minister. What was the reaction from your family, your friends? Like, did they feel like they had to treat you differently because you became a minister? Just talk about that from your perspective.
Sure. So my friend circle got really small. A lot of friends that I grew up with, high school friends, they became distant. They pretty much became distant and more distant and more distant. And now it's just down to maybe a Facebook like, or, something like that every now and then. Excuse me. But my family, for the most part, has always been supportive of me, thankfully, and, in many cases, they didn't understand some of the moves that I made, even with ministry.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, they have been very, very supportive of me.
And why do you feel that the friends started to go further away?
Well, honestly, it could be me too. I could have been the one that kind of go further away. I'm not just going to put it, on the friends, but I started to change, as I should, right? I started to change. I started to do less of those things that, excuse me, that we did in the streets, in the clubs, you know. I lost interest in some of those things. So, you know, if people are still in the world, they're going to lose interest with people like me, you know, that lose interest of the world, I guess.
And do you feel like when you're out from your house that because you are a minister and you may run into people that you have to present yourself in a certain way, like, hey, now I'm a minister, so you can't talk to me like that, you know, because it's like at the end of the day, yes, you have ministers, you know, the reverend, the pastor, etc. But at the end of the day, you're still a person, you're still human.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So just talk about that in regards to, yes, we're still human. Yes, we still go through things in life. Yes. Like a celebrity. Yes, we still cough. Yes, we still get sick. Yes, we still have moments. So
yes.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I know sometimes people do tend to look at ministers and pastors, you know, as like superhuman or something, right? Like, okay, you are saved, or, you know, you're a Christian, and, you know, you should be good and you should be okay, and you should be this, you should be that. Well, I'm glad that, you know, God has given me, you know, the okay to be myself, you know, to be the person that he created me to be. And I don't have to, like, you know, change myself when I meet people or when I present myself to people. As a matter of fact, you know, I'm not the type of person that just puts out there I'm a minister, or I'm ordained, or, you know, or I'm educated. I allow people to find those things out about, you know, about me, it comes up or it comes out, but it's not the first conversation that I'm willing to have, we need to walk this walk, and people can actually see, who you are sometimes without you even opening your mouth. It's just by the way that you move and you act and how you treat others. So that's what I want people to see me as.
What would you say outside of the friendship has been some of the challenges of being a minister?
Yeah, well, dating, which is, one of those challenges that I used to look at as a challenge as a minister. Not much more, not anymore, not as much more, I'm gonna say that, but that was just one of the challenges I remember. Having, I guess, like having or feeling the responsibility to always show up as a minister. So if there's some type of ministerial need or prayer or something, everybody turns to me. You know what I'm saying? At an event or a function or something. I wouldn't say there was a lot of challenges. Maybe just maybe internal type challenges. Just am I living the life that God called me to live as a minister? Am I doing those things? Am I praying enough or reading the Bible? Do I know enough scriptures? As a minister, I think most of those things are internal challenges.
Yeah. And I saw this photo and I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm sure you was probably saying the same thing when you got the opportunity, but you actually was able to minister a wedding.
I did.
Talk about that feeling of being able to announce Mr. and Mrs.
Yes. It was liberating, actually. It was my first, actually it was my second, it was my second. The first time I married two people was actually in a prison. One of my friends was marrying her now husband. And that was the very first time. So it wasn't really a ceremony like this. But it was just as, important and liberating as this beautiful wedding here. But yes, this is my first wedding. And Reverend Dr. Anthony Nolan Witherspoon.
The bishop.
Yes. Actually heard from God and sent me on this mission. And it was a very good experience. And I still have a relationship with the bride and groom today. But I felt very accomplished, bringing two people together under the name of God. That is definitely, something to feel good about.
And that venue looks familiar. I think I DJ there a couple of times. It's
really?
On the south side.
It is on the south side. Yeah. It looks small on the outside. Yeah,
it's like Gravois. And
yes, it is. Right. That's there. Correct.
I can't think of the name right now, but it's a very nice venue. Did a couple events there.
Okay.
So That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Cousin says, when is my interview? I got you, cuz. Shouts out to you. There you go. He said, I want mine. I got you. Stay
Okay.
tuned, stay smooth.
That's
But
right.
yeah, so that's amazing.
Yes.
And I meant to ask you this earlier. So are you from St. Louis?
Born and raised, yes.
Okay.
Born and
And
raised.
gotta ask
Yeah.
that question. What high school did you go to?
We went to Pattonville, the Ville,
Really?
class of 1996. Yes.
Okay. Nice,
Yes.
Pattonville.
Yes.
So what brought you to or what led you to Washington Metropolitan AME Zion Church?
Well, I was actually part of the AME Zion Church prior to coming to Washington Metropolitan, but after I met my husband, we were looking for a church together, and Washington Metropolitan was one of the churches that were in the pool. And because I just let him choose it. Basically, I'm like, I can adapt. You know what I'm saying? I'm a praise God wherever I go. But he was new to St. Louis, and it was basically his choice. So we chose together Washington Metropolitan.
And ever since then,
Yep.
it's
I've been
been
there.
magic. Love it.
Yes.
Okay. So we talked about you as an amazing daughter and being an amazing minister. Let's talk about you as a mother. Talk about that feeling of
Yes.
3 kids.
Yes, 3 kids. My son Tobias, the one in the middle, the little short one is Journey, and she lives up to every letter of the word. And my oldest daughter Janaya, which I am so very proud of. I'm proud of all my children. These are my heartbeats.
So, as a Black woman,
Mm.
talk about raising, and I just want to assume single.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
talk about being a single Black
Yes.
woman raising kids, especially during this time as well.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, it was tough, but by the grace of God, I made it look easy. I mean, it was joyful. There was a lot of happy times. There were some sad times. There were some scary times. But all that I did for my children. Even just the lifestyle that I've chosen to live. I tried to be one of the best examples for my children. So there were certain things that I sacrificed, so that, I can be, the perfect, not the perfect, excuse me, the best example that I can be as their mother.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I sacrificed a lot for my kids, for their well-being and for them to grow up knowing God. Okay, I wasn't raised in church. So each and every one of my kids was raised in church, so they know God. They know God, and they know God for themselves. Even the youngest, even down to the youngest one. So that was very important to me, because when I was a young mother, that is when I came into my relationship with God, and I vowed, I'm like, hey, these kids of mine, they have to know God too. So that was like one of the most important things as a mother that I did for my children. But I support each and every one of them in their own little special way every day. So
shouts out to Miss Frederica Goodlow. She says she has a beautiful family.
yes, thank you, Freddie. Thank you, Miss Freddie. I love you.
All right, keep them comments going, keep them likes, get them shares going. We want to get as many people tuned in to Smoooth Conversations with Miss Niesha Thomas-Walker. So continuing on in regards to family, what was their reaction in regards to your kids when you said that you wanted to be a minister?
Like I said, they were very supportive, but they were very quiet about it. I'm sure they had their own opinions and they were probably talking, to each other besides me.
Hey, how should we answer this? Should we start?
But I also believe that they trusted me. They trusted, my decisions, and they knew that I meant well as well. So I think that was the main reason why they really supported me. I didn't get any type of discouragement or any type of negative feelings or vibes from my family when I chose to come into the ministry. So I'm thankful for that type of family.
So the wifey says, "Great job raising amazing humans."
Amen. Thank you.
And
Praise
Miss
God.
Miss Goodlow says, "Love you too." There we go. Let's continue on.
Yeah.
Talk about this moment right here. I know that this was a very proud moment for you.
Yes, it was. So that's my oldest daughter, Janiyah, graduating from high school. That was right before she went off to New Orleans to Xavier. So that was just a couple of months before she took her first venture to Xavier into college and experienced, young adulthood. And it was a very, very good experience for her. She now attends Mizzou. She lives in Columbia.
MIZ.
Yeah. And she is studying biochemistry, I believe. She's a junior right now, so she will be finishing up in about a year and a half. So
she's on the path of taking care of y'all.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, daughter.
I remind them of it all the time.
Right. Hey, I had you for 9 months. You better take care. You better take care of me. So, going back to single mother, have there been times where your kids have questioned, "Hey, how come I haven't been able to see my father?" What's going on with that dynamic?
Yeah. So yeah, we have had some hard conversations, and for the most part, they've been getting all the support that they need. They have not missed a beat. I'm telling you, God has been good, not only to me, but He has extended that. He has made my cup overflow into my children because, even though, Dad is not always present, and, they do have their father in their life, but they wasn't always present, but they never missed anything. God provided everything that they needed, and He also provided for me. So it wasn't easy being a single parent, but sometimes we just have to do what we feel is best for our children, and sometimes that's choosing to be a single parent because I could have been in a relationship, the relationship that I was in, but that would have been unhealthy for me and for my children as well. Yeah. So that was one of the other things that I sacrificed as a single parent, deciding not to be in an abusive relationship, even if it was that. So.
And talk about going back to you being a teacher for a second. Is it hard for you to turn off teacher mode when you're with your kids going over homework and whatever and mommy mode, or it's like y'all gonna get everything I'm giving y'all right now?
Right. It is sometimes, especially with my youngest, my 9-year-old Journey, because we do homework together, and while she's doing her homework, I'm grading papers, and she's asking me questions, and sometimes I do get into teacher mode. I start asking her questions like, "What it?" And she doesn't really like that part. She was like, "Have you ever thought about being something else besides a teacher?"
Not trying to provide other alternatives.
Yes, she did. Or she'll ask me, "Have you ever thought about going back to doing hair?" I mean, I think that's just her basically saying, she hates that I'm a teacher because I'm a teacher to her a lot. So.
And in regards to teaching, continuing on, is there a certain subject, or do you teach multiple subjects?
So I am certified to teach ELA. But I also taught Bible courses as well, from previous jobs. So I love teaching about the Bible, especially children. But yes, I love to read and write. So by default, I was going to become an ELA teacher anyway.
Said by default.
Yeah.
Let's see. You got a comment from Vernon Bond Thomas Jr. Amen.
Yeah, that's my brother.
There we go.
My youngest.
Shouts out to the brother. There we go. So now, Vernon. Here we go. Vernon. Now that you're watching, or if you haven't been watching earlier, she said that when y'all were younger, she was the best in doing multiple things, tumbling, sports, whatever. This is your time to comment and let us know, is she being truthful at this time? She don't have a Bible in her hand right now. Okay. She ain't on a pulpit. She on Smoooth Conversations now. But let us know how she was as a youngster. Did she beat y'all in everything? Was she always in the fourth place? Let us know. We look forward to the comments.
Tell the truth.
Ms. Goodlow says it's not easy being a single mother, but we have God to help us to survive. And I'm glad that I saw that, because I want to give a shout out to my mom, because she was a single mother as well. She didn't ask for nothing else but to be a mother.
Yes.
And she has fulfilled that, and I appreciate that, and I love her. So just hearing, you talking about your story being a single mother and others around the world. To my mom, once again, thank you for everything you've done. You've been all that I have needed and wanted. And if there's anything that you wasn't able to show me, you at least instilled in me the ways to find that out.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
So then I won't be like, oh, I don't know. I can find a way.
Yes, absolutely.
To make it happen. That's one of my mottos in life is make it happen.
Amen.
And outside, of course, once again, being a PK, being in the church, going to Sunday school, going to Bible study on this day, going to choir rehearsal on that day, going to church every Sunday. And I'm doing the same thing with my daughter and my son who's older now. Back then, I made sure now every Sunday it was no excuse unless we go out of town or something was going on. But if we in St. Louis and we healthy, even if you're not all the way fully healthy, you know, so make it a 613.
That's right.
We're
going to church. That's right.
And for those who don't know, I was baptized as a baby at that church.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I've been there my whole life.
Yeah.
And
that's amazing.
My mom told me that the whole time I was knocked out doing the baptism.
Really? You didn't feel the water, huh?
Even when the pastor was doing this to my head, I was knocked out throughout the whole time. So that's probably why I'm so smooth right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just so cool with it.
That's right.
There you go. I just found out the origin. Wait a minute. He says, I plead the fifth.
He would say that.
There you go. He pleads the fifth.
He would say that.
Wow. That says a whole lot right there.
Okay.
So you gotta ask the other brothers, come on, let
Corey,
us know.
Dre, they know. They know. They don't like to admit it though sometimes. But I understand. I get it. I'm sure it doesn't feel good to be, beat by your little sister, or just a sister, period.
So let's take it way back real quick, back to your younger years. How were you as a student in high school?
High school, kind of brought out, the girl in me, I'm gonna say. Because, I had the three brothers, so I was pretty much of a tomboy up until that point. But when I got in high school and, got to seeing all, these guys, these cute guys, and, I felt a little grown, and on my own. High school was different. I was coming into my young adulthood.
I'm sure your brother was like, man, she got to go to an all-girl school now because she.
They hated on me so much during my high school. Yeah.
So I'm sure it was hard to have a boyfriend during high school.
It was. But I managed.
Yeah, that reminded me of Den of Thieves with Ice Cube's son O'Shea and 50 Cent, and how one of the daughters. One of the fathers had the daughter dating someone, and he brought the whole gang into the garage.
Yeah, with guns and everything, right? I think I remember that scene.
Yeah. So let's see. We got some more comments. Corey.
Oh my goodness.
She was not the best tumbler.
Yes, I was. Oh my gosh, there Corey, really? Oh my gosh. See, you know what? My oldest brother, Dre, he will tell the truth.
Dre.
I don't know if Dre's gonna be able to chime in, but yeah, they something else. That's my brothers though.
Shouts out to y'all once again. Continue to share, and share this stream right now. Get as many people to continue to tune in and just hear this wonderful story being told as well. Let's see, Bessie Thomas. Who's that?
That's my mommy. Hey, mommy.
Welcome to Smoooth Conversations. She said she was tomboyish. So she got some stories behind that. I'm about to call her up and have her say a few things, but give us some stories, Mom.
Don't get too many stories, Mom.
We need the stories, Mom. Let us know. What was your biggest takeaway from high school, though?
My biggest takeaway, mm, I had a typical high school life, but I think my biggest takeaway was probably the fact that I walked across the graduation stage pregnant.
Mm.
Yeah, so I got pregnant in high school my last year. Yeah,
Well, I mean, at least you waited till your last year
it was
because my high school, I went to the V
okay.
to Bashan,
Okay.
and uh, my first day. Now we was probably one of the rare schools, but for a great reason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't say great reason, but for the right reasons that we had. You had to get checked. You had the monitors and everything,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so you go through the monitor. And you put your bag on the table, then you look at the bags, and you go through the monitor, the whole nine. But then on the left, as soon as I walk in, it was a long hallway,
Mm-hmm.
and right on the side, it was a nursery.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Mm.
So it
For
was
students.
it was young girls
Mm.
that was 14,
Okay.
15 years old that had babies
Wow.
already.
Mm.
And
Mm.
when I say to me, that was like life changing already. Like, because
Sure.
I came from a Christian school, a
Okay.
private
Okay.
Christian school.
Okay.
Shouts out to Gateway Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the max 200 people, if that.
Mm.
So to go from that to
Vashawn.
Bashan,
They got babies and yeah.
when I say a whole different everything,
Yeah.
culture shock.
Sure, I can imagine.
Now, granted, now my whole family, well, not my whole family, but majority of my family went to the V. So
Okay.
I've been going to the games and everything.
Sure.
As a kid, but it's different
Sure.
going to games than going to school every
Yeah.
day. You know,
Absolutely.
but stepping in, and I'm seeing these young girls having
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, I mean, not saying that was my focus anyway,
Sure.
but I'm proud to say I did not have sex all throughout high school.
Oh wow.
I was not doing it because first I was an athlete,
Okay.
and my mom definitely was on me
Sure.
about school.
That's right.
Which brings me back to this. Do you feel that from your experience as a teacher that kids no longer fear their parents?
Mm. Unfortunately, I mean, I can't like put like a statistical number on that, but yes, we are seeing more and more children not not only disrespecting their parents, cursing and smoking weed with their parents, those types of things. And I think, it's not always on the kid either though. Because I think some of the parents are exposing their young kids to too much, too soon, and making things okay that kind of, just pushes that child into, young adulthood way too soon.
Right.
So yeah, unfortunately, there is a rising number of children that is just kind of growing up with their parents.
Yeah.
And it's more of a friend relationship
My girl,
versus
my boo is suffering.
exactly versus
so
a parent
it's like
child.
For me, when I see on social media, my daughter is so sexy, or you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
or my son, he's a king, whatever. It's like it should be a different dynamic,
Absolutely.
and I know I'm not perfect in regards
Sure.
to being a father, but it just certain things, certain standards that need to kind of switch because it goes back to the whole kids having kids thing.
Yeah, sure, of course, right.
So it, like you say, it's like buddy, best friend, my
Yeah,
girl, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And then it starts to show as they're getting older.
It does,
And
unfortunately.
then they go into your class, they go into high school,
Yeah.
and you're seeing it. Oh well, so and so parent act the same way as
Exactly, unfortunately,
as a
right.
child. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of my colleagues say. They've witnessed children act in a certain way, and once they interact with the parent, unfortunately, the parent is acting the same way. So we see that some of these things are kind of passed down to our children. Even just negative behaviors.
Has there been times where you gotten to a point as a teacher where you was like, man, I don't know if I can keep on doing this? Probably way too often, huh?
Every day.
Woo!
Yeah, like I said, I live in a challenging, I work, excuse me, in a challenging atmosphere with middle schoolers. But at the end of the day, there's still like, if I can reach one kid, that's the thought that I have. Even if I can reach one kid today, I have done my job. So,
And that's what I want to ask you
yeah.
as well is, has there been that moment as a teacher where you felt that gratitude, like the kid came to you and said, because of you, I was able to achieve this, or you prevented me from taking this route?
Yes, I have. And that is probably one of the most, special feelings a teacher can feel. And I think that's why a lot of our teachers go into the field, to be able to make that connection. So yes, I have been able to, have that feeling on a few occasions, to be honest. I've gotten letters from some of my students that read things like, you pretty much saved my life. I was going to go down a different route until I talked to you. I remember one of my students, her name is Nevaeh. Rest in heaven, Nevaeh. She was one of my sixth grade students that always just ran up to me and hugged me every time she saw me. I'm talking about almost like tackle mode, very, very sweet young girl. And I remember one March afternoon going up to my school. She was there, and I think I was probably out on a field trip. When came back, she hugged me so tight, and she was like, "We miss you, Mrs. Walker." And that was the last words that she said to me, because the next day, she died from an asthma attack. So yeah, I was just glad I was just glad I was able to make, some type of connection with her to where, I felt like she loved me and I definitely loved her.
Let's see. Your mom says she always responded to her calling. She would say, even today, Mom, I believe that God wants me to do this,
Yeah.
or God's telling me to do that, is a genuine servant girl.
Amen.
And Miss Ann Brooks, thank you for hanging in there as a teacher. Many have given up on our kids. It's the God in you.
Amen. Thank you.
So how does it feel, being able to receive messages and confirmations?
Well, it communicates to me that I think I'm doing the right thing, that I'm on the right road. Sometimes it's hard to decipher, if we've made the right decision for our lives, if we are on the right route. But confirmation always tells me, okay, all right, God, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm doing the right thing. I'm going in the right direction.
And what is something that you would love to see happen to show improvement in regards to schools, in regards maybe from a teacher's point of view, that you feel will maybe help your job be even better?
Yeah, so a lot of our educational leaders, they talk about how the teacher is the greatest asset. But in many of our schools, the teacher is like the last person to be communicated to. The key teacher is the one that is, is micromanaged and not trusted all the time, or at least they are meant to feel that they're not trusted. Meaning, I've heard many teachers say that, I feel like, they don't trust me to be a teacher. So I really would love to see, more schools and more, districts investing more in their teachers, financially, educationally, and psychologically, because, a lot of us, we take a lot of this stuff home with us, when we leave the school. And, especially for those teachers who are really dedicated, to the craft, you go to sleep and sometimes wake up with those issues and those children on your mind. So, yeah, I just would like to see educational leaders invest in, teachers more.
Kim Glass Douglas says, yes, all the S's. We need more teachers like you. He said that's your...
Kim is she's like a sister to me.
Yeah. That's what's up. Shout out to you, Kim. And once again, shout out to everyone who is watching right now. Smoooth Conversations. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all continue to share this stream and also subscribe on YouTube. Just go to that QR code, top right of the screen, use your phone throughout the show, scan it, and save Smoooth Productions as a contact. And just see all the many talents that I have in regards to DJing, MCing, sound engineering, doing this type of show, custom apparel, the whole nine. Smoooth Conversations, Mr. Jack of all trades. So as we continue on, talk about this cute photo right here.
Oh, that's my baby Journey. She was the flower girl at my wedding. That was the cutest picture of her, and she was just about to walk down the aisle screaming, "Here comes the bride! Here comes the bride!" But a lot of people don't know, maybe 10 minutes before she took that picture, she encountered a hot curling iron and burnt her arm. And she was like, "I don't want to go. I don't want to do this anymore because of the burn." But she's like, "I'm going to persevere." That was like her favorite word. But I'm going to persevere. And I was like, "Thank you, baby, for persevering."
Right.
So yeah, she walked down the aisle in pain, but she did it for her mama. So
there we go. Never let them see you sweat. Hey,
that's right.
even Beyonce, when she had a concert, she fell down the steps and she bounced back up like nothing happened.
Exactly. That's what you got to do.
There we go.
Got to bounce back.
Love it. Love it. Love it. There we go. Talk about this photo here.
So yeah, those are my two oldest, Tobias and Janiyah. That's me in the middle. I don't know if you can notice that person on my shirt.
Mm-hmm. So that was the most recent MJ musical?
It was. Those two brought me tickets, and they also brought themselves tickets, of course, but we are all huge Michael Jackson fans, and we went to that concert at the Fox, and I just tried, I was really excited because, they brought the tickets. I believe it was for maybe a birthday gift or something. But anyway, I was just all in the moment. I'm like, let's do this. I got me a Michael, an MJ shirt. I got a little sparkly skirt.
She's outside.
Yes.
So how was the actual show?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. So it was more like a production. I mean, of course, there was singing, but there was some acting as well. And I don't remember the name of the main star, but he did a very good rendition of Michael Jackson. Yeah, dancing and singing. It was awesome.
So I got a story. Mm-hmm. Wife and I went to Las Vegas. This was when we, I want to say it was the same time that we got married, 2021, and we saw a Circus de Soleil, whatever it's called. Okay. They had an MJ production. Okay. Amazing.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, okay, this is dope. So then a couple years later, it was an MJ show that was out in Chesterfield at that new venue. And we went there. I knew the drummer and the keyboardist. Okay. So they were like the backup band. And the performer, I think his name was Santana. And when I say we're still traumatized.
Really?
Because
wow.
It was not what we thought it would be. Wow. It was one of those shows where it's like he could dance. Okay. But he tried to sing.
Oh my goodness.
And that's when everything was just off.
Yeah. See.
And it was like, it's better off just having your background singer singing, or you just do your best Milli Vanilli. Okay. And y'all know what I mean for all the old school heads. Goodness, y'all know what I mean.
You can't
do your best Milli Vanilli,
because you can't mess up an MJ. No, you cannot. Okay.
Right.
Those fighting words.
We've been talking about going to that musical that you went to.
Yes.
But unfortunately, just the bad timing didn't make it happen. But the next time they come in town, I have to go.
Yes.
And check it out.
You will love it. I promise you. You will love it. It was amazing.
Yeah. I have to go and check that out. So we broke down so many different things about yourself, daughter, and also going back to your mom.
Yeah.
Was she? I want to say was she into the church as well, ministry or anything?
She is now very deep.
Okay.
So my mom, as I mentioned, we wasn't brought up in church. So my mom actually joined church as an adult as well.
Okay.
And very much like her, she when she joined church, she just got on fire for God and has been in the thick of it ever since. So ever since she joined church and received Jesus in her life, she has been sharing that with her children and the rest of her family. So yes, even
Nice.
today.
So once again, shouts out to your mom.
Yes.
Doing an amazing job. So talk about you being a daughter, teacher, minister, mother. Talk about this moment right here.
Yes. Being a wife, that's my husband, Durant, my late husband, Durant Walker. That was probably one of the happiest days of my life. Yes, it was. It was a dream come true, and it was an answered prayer, a very specific answered prayer. It was a perfect day.
Where was the wedding?
So the wedding was at my mother's church, Beloved United Methodist Church. Yes, so it was in the neighborhood. Reverend Kevin Kosh is the pastor there. Yep.
A funny story, right?
Okay.
He was my grade school teacher.
Really? Okay.
And of course, he taught Bible.
Yes, of course.
So me and a lot of people that I know still to this day, we all have a lot of love for Reverend Kosh.
Yes, yes.
A lot of great memories.
Well. Yeah.
Great person. So if you see him before I do again, let him know I said hi.
I sure will.
But yeah, he was my teacher back in grade school, and it was an amazing time, and one of the people who taught me a lot about the Bible.
Yes.
So I had to give a whole lot of respect and thanks to him as well.
He's a great teacher.
So going back, how did y'all two meet?
So we actually, we actually met online.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right? A lot of people would have known that. And I was a skeptic, in regards to online dating. I guess you could say I'm old school. But I think it was Black People Meet.
Wow.
They gave me like a free 90-day subscription.
I was waiting for you to say Christian Mingle.
Nope. Nope, not them. But yep, it was Black People Meet. Just kind of perusing their website, and you know how they kind of watch you, online. Like what, maybe 20 minutes after leaving the website, they send me, hey, you want 90 days free? I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, I'll play along,
Right.
So got on there and, kind of felt uncomfortable, to be honest. Got some really weird hits, from all types of people, men and women. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this is different.
Right. You say what now?
Right. But still very new to that. I was feeling uncomfortable because I'm like, no, I don't think this is how I'm supposed to feel. And was about to just disconnect my subscription because I just wasn't feeling it. And still had like time, excuse me. Still had time on my offer, my 90-day offer. But maybe a month before it expired, I got an inbox from this little chocolate skinny dude. You know what I'm saying? At least that's what he looked like from a picture. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to just disconnect this thing because, but he said something that caught my attention. He was complimenting one of my pictures, and he said, he was complimenting my profile, saying something like, you look as sweet as a dove and mightier than a lion or something like that.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly, but anyway, that line kind of caught me because it kind of explains, me,
Okay.
But yeah, so that was the beginning.
So message, because my wife said this on Ladies Night, one of the sports talk shows that I have. and she told the story to a few of the panelists. So we met initially at a fitness event. It was like a 2K or 1K walk over in Benson Park.
Okay.
And I was DJing the event, and no intentions on trying to meet no one over there, just doing my job, being professional.
Yeah.
And she came up to the dance or to the area where they were working out, and I was playing Beyonce. And
Okay.
I know that she loved Beyonce. So I was doing my thing, and she started doing her thing, dance. I'm like, I like her vibe, you know what I'm saying? Even then, it wasn't like, no, hey, can I get to know you?
Sure.
The whole night, we just generally talked, and I played a song for her that she was doing as a fitness coach during that time, and that was it. But then a couple of days later, one of her girls posted photos from that event.
Okay.
And tagged her.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, her name Jamie. Let me click on that profile. So I'm seeing photos and the whole nine, and I'm like, okay, she got it going on. No, she I think celebrating her birthday at the time. She was on one of those boats that you be out there in Alton, Illinois.
Okay.
Where you can just ride around the boat and everything, a little ship, and then she was showing out doing her thing. I'm like, okay. So what I do, inbox. And boom, we here. So message, fellas, do not be shy. Go for what you know, but it's a certain way you got to do it.
That's right. Absolutely.
You can't just be like, oh, girl, let me just no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to come with intention.
That's right. And we can tell if you have intention.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Because these women, they know what's up. You know what I'm saying? But the DM is still an option. But it's all about how you do it.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? That he made that happen. So
yes, he did.
Got some more moments here. Talk about it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was at our wedding. You can see that smile on my face, right?
Yeah. Beaming.
I know, right? And it's genuine, It's genuine. Yeah, that's one of my favorite pictures too.
Yeah.
Because you can actually see happiness and just love and safety,
Mm-hmm.
I look at that picture and I just, I see safety.
Yeah. And then like you said, just the happiness and just you just beaming, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the feeling right there.
Absolutely.
That has been an amazing feeling. And talk about this photo. The same steps where your daughter
journey was at. That's right. That's right before I walked in. I was still single in that picture.
Mm-hmm.
I was engaged, but I wasn't a wife as of yet. But maybe about 20 minutes later, I was a wife. So
the wifey. Check the inbox. Now, wifey, don't do it now. It's over now. Now it's playing. But yeah. Yeah. So how did he propose to you?
So he proposed, it was during a pandemic, and it was like at the very beginning of the pandemic when we didn't have like tissue and paper towels and
that era.
It was that era. Woo! So, we were still inside a lot, couldn't go to any hotels to be safe. You couldn't rent any cars, and be safe. It was, people were still in a panic. And so he was a truck driver and he would come down to St. Louis for a weekend, and stay like at a hotel. And, one of those weekends he came down and he had a ring. And he actually got on his knees. So we actually was at my house. We had just had dinner. And after dinner, we was watching TV. I mean, I think we was watching like Power or something because, we used to love watching that together. Yeah. And he would go back home that Sunday night. So it was like the Sunday, not go back home, but go back on the road because he was kind of living in, he had an apartment, but he was living mostly in hotels because he was a traveling, a truck driver. But anyway, after having dinner that day, he kind of like, was start kind of just walking through the apartment because I can tell something was on his mind. And it was almost like he was, afraid or something. But anyway, he sat down beside me on the couch and his hands were shaking.
Mm.
And I'm like, what's going on with you? Did you have too much sugar or something? And then he reached in his pocket, grabbed the ring, and got down on one knee. And he was still shaking. And he was like, I had this for a minute, but I was scared to present it to you. And his voice was shaking. And, I just remember the moment when he said, would you be my wife forever? And that's when I said, yes, of course. It took you so long.
So obviously, I mean that you knew for the longest time. So was there a certain moment that you knew, okay, yeah, he was the one for me?
I did. And it was pretty much the first day that we met. We met online, but the first day that I saw him in person. And I even had thoughts even before I saw him, but when I saw him, that sealed the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, and he said the same thing.
And, people always be like, for those who may not have experienced this, like, man, how will you know? It's like, it's something that just aligns.
It does.
That you just know, okay, this is it. And I think one of the moments, and my wife knows, she's not one to be like what she was saying, that she's not one to be like all mushy gushy and with the whole nine.
Yeah.
And I gave her some edible arrangements, sent it to the house, delivery. This when I was living in my house, it's here the whole nine. Sent her delivery. And the first thing that she sent me when she received the package was, I love you. And that's the first time that she ever said that.
Wow.
And I was like, oh yeah. but it was like, I knew then that confidently, I'm like, yeah, I got her, in regards to knowing that I changed her perception. Because like before she met me, she was on a whole thing like, oh, forget all men. Men ain't nothing. They just all whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we talked about that last night. When you guys were over there.
Right.
Yeah.
So she was on that whole thing.
Yeah.
So even when she met me, she probably was still saying, okay, let me find out one thing about him. Let me see, how, see how he is for real, or see if he got something else going on. But I knew then, like, that's what I wanted, and that's what I prayed for.
Yes.
And to have her give me that reaction.
Yes.
It was like, that's what you know.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Like if I had any other doubts of not doubts, but thoughts of trying to entertain this or entertain that, it wasn't worth it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the feeling that each person deserves to have.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. Yeah. Yes, I do. Unfortunately, there's like, arranged marriages, and there's relationships that will never reach that type of height. But yes, I agree. That's when you know, right? Yeah. Yes.
And absolutely. Then it's up to you to make sure that you uphold that and don't lose focus on that as well.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's very important that if you know that you have someone that you pray for,
yes,
what are you going to do after you have it?
That's right.
So message to yourself, what are you going to do after you have what you prayed for?
How you going to keep it? Right?
How you going to keep it going? So very, very important.
Yes, it is.
More moments right here. So this photo, obviously, he was in the hospital. So can you explain what he was going through?
Yeah. So my husband, he was a heart transplant recipient. I believe he got his a new heart and a second chance on life, like around 2010. He got a new heart and was very healthy, very active, and this picture was probably 2 months before he actually died. That, as you guys know, heart transplants, they have a shelf life. Some patients live 10 years, some patients live 20 years, or maybe even longer. But unfortunately, those hearts somehow, or sometimes, give out on you. And that's kind of what happened. But we kind of look at it as, God gave him a second chance when he gave him that, the second heart.
So was that something that when y'all got closer that he already explained to you before?
He did. And he was such a healthy guy, so vibrant. And I just knew that, he was going to have a long life. I knew that we were going to have a long life together.
Mm-hmm.
Even after he told me, I did some research, before I got married. I did some research about, heart transplant patients, the longevity of their life, the quality of their lives, what type of lifestyle that they have. And I read a lot of reviews and a lot of stories of people just living decades, you know, after they have received a heart. So I had no doubt that we had forever. So, you know.
So it came from you had no doubt. What was that moment where you realized that wait a minute, this may not turn around for the better?
Yeah. So that moment was probably right around my birthday in 2023. Okay. At that time, my husband had been in the hospital for several weeks. And, throughout those weeks, the doctors, the cardiologists, the specialists, they were telling me, we're optimistic, we're going to try to, you know, um, make this work, and we're going to try to, turn this thing around. But every time they said that, they would always come back to say something like, but there are no promises,
Mm-hmm.
there's no guarantees, but we're going to do the best that we can. And, that's when I kind of knew, like, man, there's a great possibility that I can lose my husband. But even then, I wasn't receiving or accepting that,
Yeah, because I was about to ask you next. It was like, what was your like? How were you able to process what was going on, or how were you able to prepare for what could possibly happen?
To be honest, I really didn't prepare myself for it until the very last minute. I'm talking about days before my husband died, because up until that very moment, I'm still praying and trusting and believing and fasting in God, that He was going to turn this around, Um, again, even to the very last moment, even to the point when they put my husband on hospice, I still believed in my heart that God was going to change the situation. I thought God was going to show the world a miracle, through my husband. And I was going to witness that. I kept that for a very long time.
Yeah, and of course, as you said, he passed away. And uh, if you don't mind just sharing that moment when it happened, and
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I can actually talk about it now, but
yeah,
there was a time where I could
it,
not
it was
talk
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
And,
I didn't
and,
even want to
and
think
before you
about it.
begin, for those watching and even for myself, we definitely appreciate you being able to be open and sharing this, because once again, there may be someone out there who could be going through something similar, and
Yeah.
just to be able to be inspired to
Yes.
hear your story. So we all definitely commend you, and we're all here for you as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yes, I definitely don't mind sharing, because yes, there are people out there like me. There's women, there's widows um, that need help.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in that position, when I first lost my husband, of feeling, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I am going to live this life um, without my husband. I don't know if I want to live this life without my husband,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I know how that feels, and I know how it is. And I know sometimes, as a woman, as a widow, you can feel so isolated from the world when you're going through something like that, and it's something that only a widow could describe,
Mm-hmm.
So, but the day my husband died, he actually took his last breath in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
and My husband told me years ago, when we first got together, that um, if he passed, he wanted to pass at home, and he wanted me to be right there by his side. So God saw fit for that to be. God granted him that because I was right there when he took his very last breath. It was me and him, and it was on a Monday. It was a typical Monday. Well, I wouldn't say typical because he had just came home from the hospital that Friday on hospice. They sent my husband home with about 3 months to live. They said he has about 3 months to live. And even then, I'm still like, my husband is going to recover. These doctors and nurses, they're going to eat every word that they said about, him dying. I'm still believing this. On that Friday, he came home, and then, on that Monday, he died right there. And right before he took his last breath, I prayed because he was struggling. He was, he was in so much discomfort, and he wasn't really talking much, those last couple of days of his life. But I just remember how much of distress his body was. His body was in on that Monday when he died. And right before he took his last breath, I'm looking at him struggling, breathing, and they put a pacemaker in his chest the Friday before he was discharged. And he would have these jerks, and I know then that the pacemaker was, kicking in, kicking his heart back. So, I mean, his heart was basically just giving out, and I can actually see his body go through that. So, I prayed. I'm like, God, please take this, take this from him. Give my husband rest and peace. And then 10 seconds later, he literally took his last breath, Um, now, as I look retrospect, thinking about that prayer that I prayed, sometimes I ask myself, had I not prayed that prayer, what would have happened?
Right.
But God gave my husband peace. It just wasn't on this side of, of the world,
Yeah.
So.
Got a message here, comment from Kim. I'm still struggling, sis, with the loss of my husband. Every day is a struggle for me. I miss
Yes.
everything about my husband.
Yes.
So prayers to you, Kim, as well. You being a minister, strong in faith.
Yeah.
When that moment happened, days after, months after, however time it needed. Well, I'm sure there are moments you was like, why God?
Yes.
What did I do wrong, or made you question your faith?
Absolutely. It did. Yeah, I think, I believe so strongly in my husband's recovery and delivery on this side of the earth that when when the dust settled, after he passed, and when the dust settled, maybe a couple of months after everything, that's when I start to question my faith because, it was just so, I was so broken. I was just so broken. I don't know, I can't really compare it to anything, to be honest. It's just, really believing in something. I mean, really believing in it and it not happening, that's pretty much how I was. And it was hard for me. It took me a long time to reconcile with that, It took me a very long time to reconcile with it. And yes, I questioned my faith. I questioned God, I questioned my purpose, that changed the trajectory of my whole life, it changed everything.
What was the relationship that he had with your kids?
Very good relationship. Very good relationship. Him and Journey was very close. Sometimes they would gang up together against me.
Uh-oh.
So yeah. They had a very close relationship. Very
And
good. He was a family man.
and what was their reaction to his passing?
So I think everyone was kind of numb, but I think everyone was careful to handle their grief a certain way for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yep. Even my youngest, I think she was really trying to be strong for her mom. Um, but at the same time, she was not. She wasn't allowing herself to talk about it and grieve. She really tried to avoid it all around. For like the first year or so.
And on the flip side, how big of it was them being a support system for you?
Everything.
Yeah.
It was everything. Yes, my children, my mom. I mean, my whole family. They were a major, and they still are a major support system for me, and they are the reason why I am able to sit here today. There was a time in my grief where I thought God was going to just take me. I literally thought that I was going to die in my grief. I mean, there was days where I did not get out the bed, because I thought, yeah, this must be what that feels like. Um, and so my family, they prayed me, they ushered me through that, and some of those very, very, very low days, they prayed me through.
Miss Ann Brooks, thank you for being so transparent and giving us widows hope and faith and moving forward. Every single day is a challenge and a struggle just to get up. As a minister and trying to be there for everyone, how are you there for yourself?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. And I haven't been there for myself a lot lately, probably within these last several months. But I'm getting back. I've for some reason, well, I'm not going to say for some reason, but the holidays was pretty tough for me. And now that we are kind of over that hump, I'm really a lot more optimistic and, and indulging in self-care, like getting back into the gym, getting back to my writing, because I want to finish this book that I started years ago, and I have even more of a reason to finish it now. And that's one thing that my husband always encouraged me to do. He was like, finish this book, girl, So I definitely feel urged to finish my book, and if not for myself, for him to honor his legacy and his support for me. But yes, I am definitely getting back to it. Stay tuned.
I'm glad that she asked that question because I was gonna bring this up too. I saw a post that you left on social media, and I remembered it yesterday. I got to bring this up, but you left this post right here, pretty much backing up what you were just saying.
Yeah,
that you want to take the opportunity to thank everyone who supported you, and you wanted to still apologize for not always showing up in all the kind of different capacities because of what you've been going through.
Yes.
So this further explain this post.
Yeah, so this is kind of me coming out of this shell. I'm kind of forcing myself out of this shell because in my grief, I sunk all the way back. I cut off a lot of ties. I kind of made myself invisible. And I really didn't want to be social. I didn't really want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to just release, kind of just release everything. And I did. And I don't feel good about that because, there was a lot of people that God put in my path to kind of help me along this, this journey. And there was other people that God put in my path for me to help along the journey. And I'm praying that I did not miss that possibility, and that God will still use me in that capacity. But yeah, there was a time where I detached. And even my psychiatrist, said that it's not good for me to do. So that's coming. That text message pretty much came from, a decision of me trying to get back out there. So it's a slow move, but it's a gradual step forward. And when I say get back out there, just being more social, showing up a little bit more, being more present, and also being available for those who may need, some of the wisdom nuggets that God has placed in me.
Which leads me to you being part of a ministry now.
Yes.
Talk about that ministry in regards to what's the ministry called?
I'm part of some ministries at my church, but
Mhm.
outside of my church, I am in the process of building my widows ministry.
Widows ministry.
And it's called WEEP, WEEP, and it is what that basically stands for is Widows Edification and Empowerment Program. And that just basically includes some Christian coaching for widows. Some of the other resources is going to kind of help us kind of get along the way. Bible studies and, those types of just support systems set up specifically for women, but with a basis of biblical scripture. Because the Bible talks a lot about widows and how God loves widows and how God encourages others to support widows. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't know that.
Mhm.
A lot of us don't know that we are God's favorite people. And I want to just help, those kind of realize that and walk in that.
That's awesome. Basically, you're not alone.
Yes, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And got a comment from Miss Hall, Lavetta Hall. You don't need to apologize for caring for yourself the best way you knew how to at that time.
Yes.
At the time. Grace for bounds, sis.
Yes. Thank you, sis.
Thank you. Keeping on with them comments, everyone. Been an incredible conversation thus far. Let's talk about this picture. I'm pretty sure this photo meant a whole lot to you as well.
Yes, it did. So that's me. That's my brother, Corey, in the middle. That's
Okay.
we are the two middle child. We are the ones that are always at each other's necks. And that's my husband, of course, and that's my dad. So that is at my wedding. My dad was an amputee, so he was in a wheelchair. But this is like my favorite picture because it has both of my guys on here. My dad died about 10 and a half months prior to my husband dying. Yeah, so within a year, I lost the two most important men in my life.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely are a strong woman. You know what I'm saying, to go through two deaths like that. So once again, I definitely commend you for all you're doing. And as you said, in regards to this, the new year, hey, it's time to get up.
Yes,
it's time to be bold.
Yes, it is.
Be bad in a respectful way.
Yes.
But just to show that, hey, there's more life.
Yes.
In store.
Absolutely. It is. It is time.
Yeah. And then also, of course, you have amazing children that,
yes,
you want to be able to see them continue to grow and grow
Absolutely.
and grow.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about this photo right here. Just some more great moments.
Yes. Yeah. So that was actually on our honeymoon.
Hey.
We was in Cozumel and we were on a cruise and we were just living it up, having so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun on that trip. That was the only trip that we were able to go on, but I'm telling you, it was like the best times.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And says beauty for ashes.
Yes. Amen. Yes, he does.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So as we wind down, said that you wanted to, well, before I even get to that point, let's go back to your oldest daughter.
Yes.
Amazing dancer.
She is, isn't she?
Amazing.
Yes, she is. She has the gift of dance, and I don't even think she understands that all the way. But everybody that sees her dance, praise dance, says the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody.
And it's been an honor. I think the majority of the time that she danced at the church, I've been playing the music behind it. So it's been an honor to hold her down.
Yeah.
Journey amazing on the piano.
She is.
I may have to bring her over one day so she can play on the.
Okay, she would love to play on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, amazing. Now talk about
Mhm.
Tobias.
Yeah, Tobias. So he's my first. He's my oldest. He's like the protector. He's the working man. Tobias basically is one of those very gentle giant type personalities, very loving, and anybody that knows Tobias just falls in love with him because he's just one of those well-rounded guys that pretty much gets along with everybody. So you can't help but from loving Tobias. And uh, one of his strengths is that he is a worker, he is a provider, and just a lovable guy. I mean, I'm so proud of him. He's made it to almost being 28 without any felonies as a young black man. And I tell him that is huge.
It is.
That is huge in our society. So I'm just so very proud of the man that he is becoming, and he is still becoming.
Yeah.
So
what is a message that you would love to just share right now? Cameras are yours. To each one of your children.
I would just say I love you guys individually in your own special way. I love Tobias with this big, teddy bear love that, that reassures him and gives him confidence, as a young man. I love Janiyah as this, young woman that is coming into her, her adulthood. That reminds me so much of myself at her age, because she's such a go-getter. Um, and I see myself in her, so much. And I love the part of me that I see in her. And I also love, the part of her that is completely her, because, she brings this, dynamic, this special dynamic to being, a young woman of God. And Journey, Journey has been here before. I believe that God, reincarnated one of my elders or one of my, somebody, my ancestors. And because she has so much wisdom that was beyond her, beyond her age. And she doesn't even know that she ministers to me sometimes. So I just thank the spirit that God has in her. So I love each and every my children, each of my children in their own special ways, and they do so much more for me, as their mother than I do for them as they do so much more for me as my children, as I do for them as their mother.
Do you feel there's a certain presence, like you can tell that your husband is watching over you or is in the room?
Yes, I do. I feel it every day actually, and I even talk to him. It kind of gives me solace, to talk to him sometimes. Sometimes I yell at him. I express how, I'm still mad at you, but I still love you. Say things like that. But yeah, I definitely feel his presence. Yeah, I do. And it helps. I think it helps me.
Job well done, Mom. God is good. From Kim.
Amen.
So, new year. It's all about once again just continue to move forward one day at a time. My
Yes.
mom told me this when I was out with the injury. One day at a time, sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
With that being said, of course, we can't erase what has gone down.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself getting back eventually into dating?
I've been asked that question probably 3 times this week, so that's weird. I mean, well, let me just say this first of all. Dating today is different.
That's a whole other show right there.
I know, right? So we really have to define what dating is because, I can say dating, I can be talking to like a 21-year-old and it can mean something totally different,
I'll take it to a different level.
Okay.
Can you see yourself being married again?
There was a time, maybe a little over a year ago that I even spoke it out of my mouth. I would never get married again. I would never find a husband like Durant, there's like no hope for me when it comes to that. I believe that for a long time, but I'm opening my mind up to it now. I mean, just a thought. I mean, um, I still feel the same way in regards to, I've had the best husband, and I may, and I'm not saying that that is a healthy way to feel, but I had the best. I just can't really see, myself having that again like that, and of course, it would never be like that, but
Right.
just,
And then I think from a male's point of view, because how you were saying earlier, this was even before you met your husband, how trying to date as a minister was tough.
yeah,
So
was.
I know that for men, when they hear your story, it's probably going to be an extra pressure for them.
Of course, and that's another thing, being a widow, men approaches those type of relationships, or even if they approach the relationship at all, right? But I'm sure there's some wheels turning in their heads, of I don't know what men think, but I can imagine that is not an easy situation to approach, So I kind of accepted that,
Yeah.
I accepted that.
Well, once again, this has been a great conversation. Thanks for the transparency,
Yes,
and praying
absolutely.
that you just continue to take one day at a time. That's all we can do,
And I will.
and live it up to the max. The moment that I got married, and going back to what I said about enjoying what you prayed for,
Yes.
I had to make sure I keep that in my mind. My mentality all the time is that yes, every day is not going to be perfect.
That's right.
But at the same token, I want my wife to know that every day, all day, that she's good.
Yes, absolutely.
And that she's being loved, and that and I want to show her and let her feel
Yeah.
the reason why I prayed for her.
Absolutely.
Because life happens.
Yes.
And 2 days isn't guaranteed.
That's correct. That is correct.
So
yes.
It's all about living the life to its fullest,
yes.
and doing it with the one that you love. So
Absolutely.
To the wifey, I love you so much. Thankful for you, because like I said, anything can happen. And just for you sharing your story, is definitely mad inspiring.
I appreciate that.
So I appreciate it, because I know someone who I've been real cool with him for years, and his wife passed away due to cancer.
Wow.
Like maybe 4 years ago now.
Wow.
I knew them both.
Yeah.
So I knew it was just like, man, it's like I say, something that no one wants to have to experience, especially when you're still young, what I'm saying, or younger.
Yeah.
You just have these visions of everlasting,
That's right.
But now he's been able to move on. He's now engaged to someone else.
It's wonderful.
So he eventually, was able to find that strength to move on.
Good.
So
that's wonderful.
If it's in God's will,
yes,
it's going to happen. And but thank you once again for
absolutely
being on Smoooth Conversations. And I want to leave. Well, here we go, wifey. Appreciate you. Hey. And then we have Sam. Is that Sam? I am tight.
Yeah.
Like the profile name, showing love as well. As we end this conversation, what's something that you would love to say right here to him?
Look, that's true love right there, y'all. I'm telling you, you have not reached, if you have not reached a level of love like that, you got to pray for that. Only God can give that. Okay. So, but yes, that's true, genuine, on fire love every day. Okay. But yes.
There we go. Miss Hall says, amen.
Amen.
There we go. So once again, everyone, thank y'all very much for tuning in to another edition of Smoooth Conversations. I am your boy Smoooth. Thank you to the incredible guests, the Rev, Niesha Thomas-Walker. And make sure y'all go ahead and once again like and subscribe. I'm on. Just click on not click, but scan the QR code, top right of your screen. and say Smooth Productions as the contact. Once again, that's Smooth with not one, not two, but three O's, y'all. So make sure y'all go ahead and scan the QR code. Go on YouTube. I need to see more than 100 people to subscribe tonight to the YouTube page, Smoooth Conversations, and let's connect, let's collab, let's do great things, y'all. So it's been a pleasure, everyone. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. This is Smoooth Conversation. Stay tuned for the next episode going down in 2 weeks. Another great story is going to be told. Have a great evening. Smoooth Conversations, where the conversations are always smooth.